And welcome to a special little video I've been wanting to do for a while. Actually, it doesn't matter if I want to for a while because it's gonna go up on a specific day anyway, so never mind. It's going to be a short little video. By short, I mean not short at all, but this is going to be a video of the first hour or so of Final Fantasy IX. I want to play through Final Fantasy IX because it's my favorite Final Fantasy, and it's actually the 15th anniversary of the game. So, do be warned, I am playing on a PS2, on a physical copy of the game, so expect crashing, and expect graphical hiccups, expect occasional freezing, and so on. But anyway, let's get started. And I'll be taking this time to discuss. This will kind of be a review mixed with a playthrough. I'm not going to play through the whole game because that'll take a long time. This is like a 50-hour game. And I've already played once. I don't even remember it that well. As you can see, there are a couple of hiccups periodically. Well, to be honest, I don't have the digital version, so, okay, that is interesting. That didn't happen before. Alright, we're good now. Sad part is that cutscene was almost over a bit before it froze. Sure is dark. Okay. Discussing what, let's just get off right at the bat and discuss what I don't like about this game, because hey, let's be positive and thus get the bad out of the way. Here's the bad. Battle speed, fast. Field message, fast. You want to do this as soon as possible. Trust me. Okay, so this is like I don't know, wait, Final Fantasy VIII was the first one to have analog control. So that's appreciated. Final Fantasy VII does have analog. So if you press X, you light the candle, and who's there? So this is one of those names that no one knows how to pronounce. This should be a theme in the series. I think the Japanese name is Zidane, but in English it's generally pronounced Zidane. So just saying, I don't know what to call this guy. So, there's a reason I cranked up the battle settings like I did, and that's my first complaint about the game, is that the battle speed is absolutely painfully, ridiculously terrible. Again, keep in mind that I did crank up the battle speed all the way to maximum, which normally in Final Fantasy games would be like crazy fast. Like, the bar, it almost instantaneously fills, but look how fast it fills in this. It still kind of creeps like that on the fastest setting. So that is one of my big problems with this game. Starting right off the bat with battle, so it's a good thing I actually did that. Where you said soul wrist, you want to actually do that if you're like a speedrunner, because that is actually apparently a very good early game item. I don't know too much of the specifics because I'm bad at this game. Basically, this is just a very simple fight, so I'll discuss some other things. So, history. This game came out on November 13th, 2000 in the US. And I am saying that very specifically in the US, because in Japan, it didn't come out then. In Japan, it already came out in July 2000, July 7th, 2000. Europe came out February 16, 2001, so Europe got last. Another thing is, technically, this game would have been the 10th anniversary of the franchise in North America. Not in Japan, though, because in Japan, the original Final Fantasy came out in December 1987, but this game came out in the US, that game came out in the US in 1990s, so this would have been the 10th the English anniversary of the franchise. And kind of a fitting game, actually, because this game is sort of a throwback. It's not super like rehashy, but it is kind of a throwback. Chaz List Infamous Bad Daring Thieves, that's us. It's heading to the Kingdom of Alexandria. The summon Alexander, I think, was in Final Fantasy VIII already, so that's a reference. Garnet, pretty sure this Garnet's name is a reference to someone. I forgot who. That's one of the most iconic songs of the game, I Want to Be Your Canary. Hopefully we'll get to that part. Let's see, what else? Basically, this is actually Final Fantasy creator Hinobu Sakaguchi's favorite game. Probably because it was such a throwback to the original. Baku is kind of not... Actually, this whole gang is kind of not the nicest guys around. Zan is kind of a fascinating protagonist to me because he is not a very traditional protagonist. He's kind of a flirt, I guess. And here's our introduction to the most bestest character in the game, Vivi, who is like everybody's favorite character. He's a black mage. If you want to go by traditional archetypes, that's another thing. This game actually goes back to having traditional archetypes. Final Fantasy VIII with all their junctioning, I don't think that was actually a thing as much. And another character intro coming right up is... Oh, come on. Oh yeah, a lot of people make that into a wallpaper. Not even kidding. This game actually, as people know, is actually pretty dang good looking for a PS1 game because it's 2000. It's kind of the same boat as like Paper Mario, where it's like at the end of the system's lifespan. Because the PS2 came out in 2000, I think. It's even been produced by Hinobu Sakaguchi. He left the franchise around 12, unfortunately. So that's probably the shift in gameplay and style. That's what's to blame. And yeah, the frame rate's a little bad. I will fully concede that much. I'll also concede that, yeah, that battle speed is really bad. So we're in the city of Alexandria. Are you alright? So, I guess this is also something I like about this game, is that you don't just play one character. You actually switch characters quite a bit throughout the game. So, I'm not sure what to do because, to be honest, I haven't played this in like 4 years, so I'll just commentate. If we get lost, who cares? Gives me more time to talk about stuff. Basically, Vivi, our lovable black mage hero. I thought Garnet was in that other cutscene. Never mind, because we didn't have another intro. Vivi is a name because we just got him. This game has a unique feature of having a lot of like... Wait, how'd that help? Oh well, I can't tell what that actually did. This game is actually unique in having ability points, but we can't do anything with that. So we'll just keep on walking. I'm not going to take time to talk to these people. If I do a full Let's Play, I'll go into much more detail, but that's not going to happen for a long time, to be fair. Much too busy. So basically, part of the thing I like about this game is that the art style is really, really good. Final Fantasy 7 and 8 were very realistic games, so they looked ugly. They actually look good. They look currently ugly. Like, this game has held up a lot better because it's so cartoony looking. If you're playing on PS3, either disc or digital, you can also turn on, I think it's called bilinear filtering. On Vita, at least that's what it's called. But that's actually really helpful because it smooths out all the textures. So yeah, playing on PS2 is less than ideal, obviously based on all the graphical hiccups we've had. Also, this PS2 is 11 years old, so it's not exactly running well. Anyway, I would not be surprised if this crashes partway through. So we're going to basically keep our fingers crossed And just hope that this doesn't crash partway through. So, part of this game also that I like is the soundtrack. Nobuo Uematsu did soundtrack, of course. I hope I'm not botching his name, because Uematsu is not an easy name to say, and I've heard people say it so many different ways. But Uematsu's soundtrack's always amazing. But I feel like this game is like the pinnacle of his soundtracks. Every song in this game is really good, I'd say. Also, another traditional thing, Moogles. Moogles weren't exactly in 7 and 8 very much, as far as I'm aware. They're not in 7 at all, except for Mog. And I haven't seen any in 8, so this is how you save. And actually, well, to be honest, I probably, if I were to do a Let's Play, I'd actually start the whole game over so I could go into a little more detail about what's going on, instead of just discussing the game. But I just want to see if my memory card works. So I'm gonna actually save here. Let's see. Like, the ending song is like one of my favorite video game songs of all time. I'm not even kidding. The main theme of the game, which actually shows up several times, which is something I really like about both 8 and 9. I will admit I don't like 8 very much, but I do like about how in 8, Eyes on Me, the ending song, is actually relevant to the main story. And similarly in this game, the song Melodies of Life comes up quite a few times. Okay, so my memory card isn't gonna work. Okay, so if you wanted a full Let's Play of this game, I'm sorry, but I don't have a working memory card. So let's just keep moving. So I'm wondering if it's not... Huh, okay, that's weird. Well, I know something I can get rid of. Like, literally, I hooked up my PS2 so I could do this video. It's been in storage for like a year and a half. I'm not even kidding. All the memory cards and everything was just all scattered all over the place. So I'm actually lucky that the PS2 itself turns on, even if the memory card doesn't work. It won't fall. Yeah, I trust him. But basically, like, this game just has a certain charm to it. Like the whimsical soundtrack, the sort of more cartoony art style. A lot of people hate the cartoony art style. I'll fully concede that. But I still think it's a really good game. Like, if any game were to get a remake, I'd want a remake of 9 after 7. So for remake order, 7 obviously is getting a remake. Slow clap, because it took them 10 years to 9 years to finally announce something official. But after 7, I think 9 actually would be really good to have a remake. 9, you wouldn't even have to change too much. Like, if you make the art style kind of comparable to like Ni no Kuni, I think the game would actually look really, really good. Like, for the world map aspects of it, and even the character designs I think would look good in that kind of art style. A few little frame drops, nothing too major. Like, kids got humongous nose, and that little flicker on the side screen was a little bit ugly, but okay. That's Queen Braun, by the way. She's a piece of work. That's Garnet, who I thought appeared in previous customization, and I just looked away, missed it. That's Steiner, who's also a main character. That's something else I'll go into details, is all the characters are pretty likable in the game for the most part. Main cast of characters includes Zidane, who we've always seen. And that is actually really, really annoying. That sound. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I see my PS2 seems to be having a lot of trouble with the FMVs. And it's something I'll go into details. These FMVs still look really, really good. I mean, I'm not even being sarcastic or anything, but these FMVs like legitimately look really impressive. Except when they constantly hiccup. So this is one of the most iconic moments in the game, I would say. The play. I'm so glad this is early in the game and made it into the video because it's super fun. It's kind of a weird thing because it's kind of a quick time event. Before there's quick time events. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a QuickTime event in here. I mean, this whole scene and this just sets up the tone so nicely for the game. Because think about it. Final Fantasy VII begins with the steampunk train ride, and then you're going in and blowing up an entire freaking reactor. Final Fantasy VIII begins with this opera music and this really badass cutscene of two dudes in a sword fight. This starts with like a really like bright, colorful area, and also with a play. I mean, like what more do you need to know? Just this game is just so much more like cheery than the previous two, and that's something I actually really like. And this is actually this is a battle. The sword fight's later, but it's just kind of refreshing how like this game is, comparatively speaking. Light spoiler, but none of these characters actually make it very far in the game. So that kind of stinks. Zidane is the only character who's actually a main character in this bunch. Main characters are Zidane, the Garnet, the princess in the tower, Steiner, and those are like considered the. I think there's 4 in the box art, if I'm not mistaken. But other characters include Freya, who is hard to describe. I don't even know what the heck she's supposed to be honest. I think a wolf or something. Quina, who like is considered one of the most enigmatic characters in the series because like what the heck is Quina? Eiko, who's like a summoner. Is basically like the Vidya if you play Final Fantasy IV. Amarant, who's basically a monk, who is I think rivals with Zidane at the beginning of his story arc. So, and King Leo I think is a reference to Final Fantasy 1 as well, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, to be honest. I don't remember enough about Final Fantasy 1, but I seem to recall one of the characters being named Leo. Have to look. I probably should have actually made notes for this video. I should have. Aha, here we go. This is considered one of the more. Oh, he's a fairly playable character. There's a character named Leo in 6. Expect no quarter from me. On guard. To follow Blank's lead, enter the following commands. This is basically, yeah, a QuickTime event. And depending on how well you do, you actually get more money. So pressure's on to perform. So expect the commentary to kind of dry up during this part, to be honest. But like, listen to that music. Like, it's like seriously different than like anything you'd hear in like Final Fantasy 8 or 7. And I really, really appreciate the whole levity to this whole opening act. The game does have dark moments, of course, but on the whole, this game is a lot cheerier than 7 or 8. Most of the dark stuff in the game comes with Vivi because of basically spoiler. So I'm gonna be quiet. So to give it a little break before actually continuing to spoil stuff. But basically. Vivi, yes, I did pause intentionally as I said I would because I didn't want to just immediately drop a spoiler. Vivi's kind of doubts his own existence partly through the game. So that's actually he's a popular character as a result. Because he has the most like emotional baggage, basically. But it's also kind of simple. It's not that complicated. It's just a very basic dilemma that he's in. An everyone character, because basically all the characters at some point have a moment of self-doubt, and it's not really dragged out that long. For example, Zidane has a moment of self-doubt, which actually doesn't last very long. Probably the character with the most doubts is of course Vivi, because he's like main, but also like Garnet goes through a period where she's not exactly very cheery. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So basically the play is a huge, oh snap, and this is actually a reference to the white mages in Final Fantasy 1 actually. Basically, this is an example of Zidane being kind of a flirt. Wow, the text just smoothed out all of a sudden for me. I don't know what happened. So the hooded girl is important. I was supposed to discard it. Oh, wow, they actually revealed that way sooner than I thought they would. I'm actually happy about that. I was hoping they wouldn't just drag out the reveal too long. Basically, this game does have very heavy plot points sometimes, but on the whole it is a lot happier of a game. And I'm totally cool with that, because like Final Fantasy 4 is pretty light, but it has dark moments. Obviously, the initial arc of Cecil having to basically redeem himself is actually really cool. But then, yeah, 4 is actually pretty consistently serious. This game has some very campy moments in addition to being very, very serious at times, which I actually appreciate that. It creates like an interesting contrast from moment to moment. What else can I say? That's Beatrix, who's only a temporary party member later on in the game, but is actually super popular. Not gonna go into a huge amount of details about that because of spoilers. I don't want to spoil too much. Like, what I said about Vivi isn't actually that huge of a spoiler, but I still want to preface it with a period of silence anyway, just in case. But yeah, Vivi's arc is pretty well known. It's generally considered one of the best parts of this game, which is actually sad because like Zidane's story arc, Garden's story arc, are kind of forgotten pretty quickly by fans. But everyone is good in this game. Say Amarant is like the weak link in the cast, and also Quina, because it's just weird. I'm pretty sher current theme is like they don't even know what gender Quina is. So, I'm pretty sure at one point they refer to as he, she, it. But yeah, it's been years since I played this game, so again, my memory is probably pretty shaky. Example of one of the sillier moments of the game. And this is something cool I like, is that they constantly shift perspectives. Oh, I just ran out into the stage. Whoops. Into the audience. Because like, the one point we're playing Vivi trying to sneak into the theater, now we're playing Steiner who's trying to stop Zidane. I just think that's actually really cool how you constantly switch perspectives. We're in the kitchen. And now I'm wanting to let's play this game, but I don't have a working memory card. Or a working PS3 controller. Also, like, playing Final Fantasy 9 almost broke my PS3 back in the day. Like, it seriously had the hardest time rendering that game. Just like, why? The game's 10 years old. At the time it was 10, now it's 15. Maybe through here. Basically, my PS3 almost cooked itself trying to play Final Fantasy 9. Even to the point where it just automatically turned itself off because it was overheating that much. So yeah, that's not something I would want to do, destroy my PS3, which is already like 10 years old, by the way. Not 10 years old, it's more like 6 years old. Yeah, so we're trying to find Zidane, of course, which again, as I said before, is actually cool how you play through the game through different perspectives from scene to scene. It creates lends a little more color to the game. Then you're not just playing the same character over and over again. Well, we're kind of at a dead end here. So yeah, the music during this scene is like super derpy, which I like. It fits Steiner very well because he is kind of a derp, and that's probably why he's one of my least favorite characters. My least favorite characters are Steiner and Amaranth. Aiko's okay. Quina is just weird, but like Vivi, Garnet, Suzanne, and Freya are all really good characters. Look at that analog control. That's pretty smooth, huh? Playing Final Fantasy VII is a chore because of only being able to use the D-pad. I hope they fix that for the PS4 version. The port, not the remake. I hope they have analog control in the remake, but in the port as well. I hope they add an analog. That's a very cartoony little moment there. Yeah, it's just kind of a silly game, and I like that. But yeah, it starts silly, but gets very serious later on. It's still rated T for teen. I think it's for violence or fantasy violence. I can't remember which, or mild violence even. Comparatively speaking, this game is a lot less violent than 7 or 8. There's like no blood, as far as I know. 7 and 8 have quite a few like bloody scenes. Oh, there's just something cool about this game. I mean, I do admit the art style is a little weird, because everyone's sort of, like, oh, what's the word? Like, not Nendoroids, but there's something like Nendoroids, kind of like a little chibi kind of figure in Japan. Kipoche, I think that's what it is. But anyway, that's kind of the art style I get, the vibe I get from this art style. Which, you know, to take it or leave it. I personally I'm okay with the sort of silly art style in the game, because this is a cheesier Final Fantasy game, to be honest. So not having it look super realistic and gritty is totally fine by me. So we're back on the airship. Is this the Tantalus in this game? I can't remember. Yeah, yeah, my memory's a little foggy of some of the finer details of this game. Yeah, it's just I like these little dynamic scenes like this where it's kind of a chase scene, but it's also very scripted. It still feels like a satisfying chase scene. Yeah, I think it's the Tantalus in this game. It's funny because Zidane already figured it out like a long time ago. And I like this part of the story because she wants to be kidnapped. She wants to get the heck away from here. She's tired of her stupid, boring life. I feel like it's something that the Tales games could learn from. Because the Tales games tend to have characters who like don't know anything. But like Garnet seems very like independent, which is actually pretty unusual for female Final Fantasy protagonist. No, I will admit there is the traditional Mopey moment, but still, all things considered, she is a better character than most. I wonder how the frame rate drops are going to affect the actual finished recording, now that I think about it. Dramatic pause because of like, well, frankly. Oh wait, do we switch characters now? Like, seriously? It's like really weird. Okay, we don't. That would be actually funny if you just immediately start playing Steiner after that. But okay, down the escape hatch. Zidane has a tail, which is a plot device. That's kind of a spoiler, so I'm not actually going to go into it. Suffice to say that it is very important why he's the only one with a tail. But yeah, the art style is so exaggerated in this game that I think it fits the kind of campier storytelling. Oh, that was one of our guys, I would assume. In costume. Oh yeah, that was the dude who was dressed up as the guy with Zidane. So also, another thing I like is that Final Fantasies 8 and 9. 8, 9, and 10 are considered interesting because they're essentially love stories, which is kind of unusual. Final Fantasy games in the past have had like subtle nuances, but this game doesn't really have too much in the way of love. Okay, how to put it? Well, this game, it's more subtle. It's more gradual. It's not like there's the Waltz to the Moon, which is like super obvious that that's a thing. That Squall and Renoa are going to be an item by the end of the game because it's heavily implied. But in this game, they don't really imply that with Zidane and Garnet at all until like the end game, which I actually appreciate. It kind of like it makes it seem a little more real. Ooh, okay. Let's see. So we get to fight Steiner now, which is funny because he actually does become a party member, but we have to fight him anyway because he is in our way. Okay, this is all just doing tutorial-y stuff. Oh yeah, another thing, the loading times are a bit on the lengthy side. So between that and the slow battle speed, grinding is really, really painful in this game. So yeah, I would not recommend level grinding. Yeah, let's see, what else can I talk about? This is all spoiler. The villain is also popular-ish, I'd say. And I am saying that very specifically popular-ish, because his name is Kuja. Well, he's just kind of there. This isn't very popular. Battle over. That's a scripted scene, obviously. Let's see. Yeah, Kuja is not a very good villain, I'd say. A lot of people prefer either Kefka, Sephiroth, or even Ultimecia to Kuja, who we probably won't even be seeing in this video, actually. But just suffice to say, the main villain's name is Kuja. He's also famous for not actually being the final boss of the game, which is also said to be vastly disappointing. What else can I say in this cutscene? Yeah, the textures really do look bad when playing on a PS2. On a PS3 it'd be a lot smoother looking. Yeah, there's no way to change that for this. Okay. Whoops. I like how there's this long, this essentially just tutorial stuff, but it's kind of a cool way to go about a tutorial. Because it's essentially, it doesn't feel like a tutorial, it feels very natural. And I like how they just wing it like this. Yeah, I want Video Canary play is, yeah, one of the most, it's such a brilliant way to start this game because it just gets the ball rolling so fast for the plot. 13 drags so freaking much. Look at like how you start out with Lightning and Saz, which is really awkward because Saz is kind of a derpy character, and Lightning has no sense of humor, so it doesn't work at all. In my opinion, that the contrast is just too big. Saz is basically comic relief, and then Lightning just doesn't get anything. And then you look at 8, where you basically have like Renoa, you have Selfie. You have some really silly characters, but Squall is just like ellipses in reply. It's like, it's hard to even read. I forgot that happened. I honestly can't even remember a time when Squall, in my playthrough 8, where Squall actually said something like nice to someone. The queen's totally evil, you can tell. I like this part because, like, basically we have, like, 4 different characters whose storylines all intertwine all at the same place. Just through luck, basically. Come back here. And the audience just thinks this is all part of the plan. The audience thinks this is just part of the play, so it's funny because that all this crap just happens randomly. Whoops. And now we have to make a getaway because our cover is blown. The funny part is Steiner's like, he's kind of an interesting character, I will admit, because he's technically at odds with Zidane, because Zidane is basically getting Garnet into a whole lot of trouble, but at the same time, Steiner is just trying to look out for the princess. He's not like a evil character, he's not like a bad guy, that's what I'm trying to say. He's just trying to look out for the princess, and a lot of times he just doesn't get that the princess just wants to be alone. So, another battle mechanic that has been carried over is, what the heck is Medeo? Another thing that's carried over from past games is the rows. Back rows, front rows. I forgot that was a thing. But this is a real fight, so stage magic doesn't actually work. So we gotta do some real... I forgot that was also a stage effect, so... But I think it's cool that your, like, special commands are actually replaced with, like, stage effects. Basically, Vivi and Garnet are in the back row, which means that their physical attacks are greatly reduced, but their magic attacks will be the same. Assuming Garnet had any magic attacks, but she doesn't. She's the white mage. So you got a thief, a black mage, and a white mage. And Marcus is also a thief, but he's not a permanent party member. Steiner, I think, is like a warrior, if you want to use traditional Final Fantasy terminology. Freya is a dragon knight. Amaranth is a monk because he uses physical attacks. I'm gonna be late for my date. Only Flesh Wound, which is a Monty Python reference of all things. You know your game is off to a good start when you have a Monty Python reference, right? I'm kidding. That's not the only... That's actually my least favorite scene in that movie. But I still think it's really funny that they reference Monty Python. And we're going to have another FFV, so expect the game to lag once more. Yeah, these cutscenes look really jittery on my PS2. If you were playing on PS3, this would look so much smoother. Just acting like, nope, this is all according to plan. But yeah, they figured out by now that stuff is going down. Oh, and your obligatory cutscene freeze for this video. It's happening once per cutscene, which is another reason why I would not let's play this game, because that would get really annoying. Oh, this is not long. Like, just the FMVs look so good for PS1. Like, specifically, like, I'd say Garnet and Zidane's character models look really good, even still. Wait, battle time? What? I forgot there was a battle here. The battle music never gets old for me, which is also a plus because you'll be hearing it a lot. That's a magic enemy, so this is gonna stink. It's also in the back row, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, this is a fixed encounter, isn't it? This is a fixed encounter. So what we want to do is just pound away on Steiner. Look behind you. It's all up, get all PT up in your business. I like how there's dialogue during the fights in some of the story scenes. I really like that. It's kind of it lightens things up. It makes things a little more like less tedious that there's actually dialogue. It's all scripted, but it's so cool, I think. That's not gonna end well. Makes it seem a little more dynamic, like an actual fight scene, even though it's still very turn-based. I'm really happy with how far I've gone, because it's like we're 40 minutes in, and we're right where I hoped we'd be. Actually, we're farther along than I thought we'd be. So, I guess I'll show the next part too. A little bit. Probably not all of it, because it's kind of a long sequence. I'll probably die, actually. Okay, so yeah, the bomb. That's not gonna bode well for us, because if you know anything about Final Fantasy, those guys blow up. And they can typically take your entire party with them. Like that. Bringing up the question of how come Garnet's so okay with all this. I mean, Braun is so okay with all this because, you know, Garnet is on board there, you know. I don't know, this just looks really cool. Still, this looks really cool. Graphically, I mean, for the age of the game, it's really impressive what they did. Square Enix typically makes games with really good graphics though, so why am I surprised? I think my favorite Final Fantasy cutscene, I think, is... Oh, what is my favorite Final Fantasy cutscene in this game? Let's just limit it to this game, just for the sake of convenience. In this game, it's... the ending cutscene is just so cool. Which obviously I can't talk about because it's the ending cutscene. Final Fantasy X, there were some really gorgeous FMVs in that game too. So if there's one thing Square Enix can do right, it's good graphics. It's always how it's been, that's always how it will be. Because Final Fantasy 15 looks freaking amazing, but I don't know how it's actually going to be. Yeah, this would not be a full Let's Play. It's freezing way too much to be full Let's Play. But to be honest, this first disc is really cutscene heavy. I'm gonna fully admit that. I saw one time someone else was borrowing this copy, and it froze during the ending cutscene. It was like so weird. Like, so it was actually kind of funny in a way because it's like you get to the end of the game, finish all the final bosses and everything, and then nope, can't see the ending cutscene. I can't tell what the frame rate of this game is. I can tell certain animations look 60, but the game as a whole looks 30. The backgrounds I think are pre-rendered, if I'm not mistaken. Which was a common technique used back in the day. Most popularized, I'd say, by Resident Evil, actually. Resident Evil did a lot of stuff with pre-rendered backgrounds. Because having everything in-game was kind of difficult. It's basically like the concept of having a green screen. You just picture all the character models against a green screen. Okay, it's Prima Vista. Tantalus is a different game, I think. But yeah, you can tell the backgrounds are not the same graphics engine as the main characters, which honestly, this game is so low resolution you can't really tell. Just gonna try something here. My memory card looks fine. Just tossing them out. It's like, oh well. I don't know if this character's supposed to be dead or just unconscious. I actually don't know. Hey dudes. So... yeah, Guardian Smith. So in this part is introduction to one of my favorite elements of the game. The active time event. This is an all-optional cutscene that basically shows what the other characters are up to. So Garnet and Vivi are like lost in the forest. They got thrown from the crash. And now... oh boy. Watch out! So that's not ominous at all. So we gotta go rescue them, but hey, let's check on our crew first. You search outside. Oh man, this part stinks actually. This whole sections of the game kind of stinks. Because it's kind of weird having a difficulty spike in the first area. Yeah, it's just not gonna save. I have a memory card in there, but it's just not gonna work. That's a little bit disappointing. Oh look, water effects. It's a PS1 game, but it's still water. Look at that. It's pretty. It's more than just being a pretty game. The story, as I've alluded to, is so good in this game. To be honest, I think the lack of voice acting is why. Because frankly, 10 is such a good game, except the voice acting is all terrible. There's not a single good voice actor in that game, which is actually not true now that I think about it. The voice cast is really, really good. It's actually more of an issue of the directing. The direction is horrible. Basically, like there's weird pausing in a lot of dialogue, like with I think Yuna in particular in Final Fantasy X, she tends to pause a lot. But in this game, because there's no voice acting, you can just picture everyone sounding like Yuan. So I feel like it's actually more immersive than 10. I would like to do something for 10's anniversary too, but I don't actually have a copy of 10 I could play because I have it on Vita. So we buy it on PS3, and also we buy a new PS3 controller. So yeah, no 10 anniversary, 10th anniversary or whatever anniversary do. Oh, she's in trouble. Okay, this was a shorter run than I thought it was. This is the first official boss of the game. Okay, so we actually have to team up with Steiner this time, which also introduces one of my other favorite aspects of this game. If you play Chrono Trigger, you know what a dual tech is, or a triple tech. You can do that in this game too, actually. So this is another introduction to the limit break, if you want to call it that. What is that like? Go away, Firefox. I want to update you right now. Yeah, maybe I should have done pre-recorded commentary for this. Basically, yeah, this is your limit break. Long story short, but it's different than a limit break actually, because it lasts for the duration of that bar. You basically get special moves. Wait, what? It also drains the guardian's health, by the way, so you kind of want to hurry. Oh, that attack does. Whoa, snap. Okay, that was effective. But yeah, see, it drained part of his trance gauge. Roughly half, I'd say. I don't think I want to attack Garnet, obviously, so I want to attack the base. Yeah, no sword arts, actually. Online or otherwise. There you go, it's Lost Song is coming out in a few days. I'm not exactly happy about that, because I have too many games to play. But enough tangents, staying on topic. Yeah. That's kind of a first boss, but it's kind of not actually. So now with Vivi in tow, we have to go check down deeper into the forest to save the princess. So he's a minion. Oh snap! Now Vivi's captured too. It just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, I don't really remember this early part of the game, so if I sound like kind of flustered, that's why, because I don't remember this part at all. Do they let Vivi attack in this battle? Or is it just down the Steiner? Oh yeah, this is automatic. This is your introduction to super effectiveness. If you're a Pokemon fan. What happens if I do that? I'm just curious. So yeah, it drains health from the person, the cocoon. So we have like 2 turns of healing to deal with. I don't know if that hurt Vivi or not. Can't escape this fight. Oh yeah, if you hold down left and right triggers or bumpers, you actually can run, but obviously you can't run in this fight. This is still very tutorial-y kind of stuff, so it's the next fight I'm worried about, which we might not get to actually at this rate. Yeah, this ATB is like my big problem with this game. That is so slow. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably give this game a much higher. I mean, this is still my favorite Final Fantasy by far, but I still fully admit that is a humongous problem with this game. You should think of something important you need to do in life. You have to admit that this isn't perfect. And not just, let, nostalgia or fan loyalty cloud judgment. The classic Final Fantasy victory jingle, I forgot to point that out 10 seconds ago, but yeah, this game is far from perfect, but I think it's also important to emphasize that because the flaws, I think, outweigh the flaws don't manage to outweigh the pros, in my opinion. The cons don't outweigh the pros. I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's scripted. I'm going to die. That's actually a huge plot element. Basically, like Vivi, like he doesn't know what exactly is going to happen to him because, like, does he even exist? Is he a real black mage or not? Steiner is like the comic relief of this game. Definitely. So I think we should be getting another active time event pretty soon. So it's obviously poison. God help me. Oh wait, this game is also rated for language. Actually, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's rated for violence and language because there's actually a fair amount of swearing in this game, which is funny. Actually, they don't swear as much as like Sid or Barrett. So that'd just be ridiculous if anyone was humanly Oh, he looks. That's cool. He actually turns when he leaves. That's actually cool. You have two actually, and you typically don't have to choose, as far as I know. We left Ruby behind. Whoops. That was a short one, just a little joke one. A lot of active time events are also just kind of funny. Like a little comic relief. Others are actually really important. Like towards the end, the middle of the game, I'd say. A lot of Vivi's active time events are actually pretty relevant to his, like, him trying to, like it gives insight onto the character's mental state. I kind of hope that table would just break under his weight, but okay. That was all that they were using as an example. This must have been in the same room as the meeting room. Okay, I triggered another event. Okay, I'm okay with that. I wonder, actually, if this ties in. It does. Couldn't remember if that actually did or not. Steiner just has it. And Moogle's like, dude, chill. Doesn't he say something funny here? Yeah, I guess there's that. Yeah, the troop kind of breaks up at this point for obvious reasons. Because they're kind of in disarray. Treasure chest, that's the thing. Treasure chests are all over the place and they hide items, so yeah, collect as much treasure as you want. Or need. Save you a trip to the item store, potentially. It's also true that chests look better in this game. They don't look as obviously in-game, in contrast to the background. Tries to take us a plus. And this is when we officially got our first party members. Because, well, we had Vivi along, we had like Garnet briefly, Steiner followed along us last time, but hey, we officially got a party here. Wait a minute, I'm actually a bit lost. I honestly can't remember where Vivi actually is. Oh, here he is. That's a popular quote there, actually. I should have pointed that out. It's what's inside that counts. Like, just think about it. Like, just try to picture Cloud or Squall saying something like that. No, it never would happen in the first hour of the game. I mean, like, maybe by the end game, Squall lightens up. I haven't actually finished it yet, but from when I played Squall, it's just kind of a giant pain in the butt throughout the early parts of the game. I saw on the first disc, actually. It's actually the funny part, because like Zidane is like super into Garnet at first, but then again he flirts with like all women in this game, so doesn't really mean anything actually. If you say forget it, I think they make you re-choose. She's in trouble. So yeah, that's kind of Zidane's attitude. It's actually true because Squall is like such a stick in the mud and doesn't get anyone's advances, but Zidane kind of gets it a little more, understands women more. Sort of. In a kind of a weird way. Actually, no, he really doesn't get women at all. Till the end. He's kind of like... Oh, what's the word? He's kind of like the typical, like, swashbuckling kind of character. And then he sort of chills by the end of the game. Which I like, personally. Shows character growth without him being, like, obnoxious early on. Because he really isn't, like, annoyingly, like, flirty with everybody. It's just mild enough that it's a character trait, basically. Now I have to talk to the ringleader again. I forgot where he actually is. Oh, there he is. The Final Fantasy VII, I think, has the most swearing of any Final Fantasy. So as you know, because there's so much swearing. Yeah. More so later on, actually. It's like the early part is just Barrett, but when Barrett and Sid show up, there's so much swearing. It's actually kind of funny. I'm honestly really curious to see what happens with the remake, if they'll actually keep in all the swearing or not. This is basically a mock fight for all the marbles or all the equipment. And this will obviously be where we ended off. So we're approaching an hour. This fight's actually pretty straightforward. You can't die obviously because this is a mock fight. Bring it on. What else haven't I talked about? Yeah, this is still my favorite Final Fantasy. I played them in kind of a weird order also. So that's also impressive because I played 13 to 4, 10, 6, 9, 7, I think. Was the order I went in. No way, I played 1 and 2 and somewhere in the middle. And 3 also. This is one of the later ones I played. Like latter half, I'd say. After, yeah, 13, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, I played quite a bit of them actually. I don't remember if I played 3 before this one, but again, it's still just to me impressive that I still like this game as much as I do. Because there's that old saying about, oh, your first is always your most favorite. First is always your favorite, or whatever. Basically, by extension, you could assume that Final Fantasy 10 or 4, God only knows, even 13 could be my favorite, because just the order I played them in, nostalgia. But I actually like 9 the best, even despite the fact that I played it after. Bravo. Like I just punched him in the gut, and we're just like, ow. It's like, thanks, mock fight, and then actually your compliment afterwards was actually the worst part. But I'm also at like 0 health. That's not good. So I think that's a decent look at the game. Yeah, if you want to play it, it's like, what, $10 now on PSN. So, and even physical copies are made like $30 at most if you have like a PS1. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I literally have a new physical copy for like $15 because it was like right before Square Enix stopped printing the game, so it's like mint condition. It's like one of my favorite pieces of my gaming collection, actually, because I do think this is like one of my favorite games of all time. So, that said, I think that's enough for now. Hope you enjoyed watching. This is a little brief, brief for the fact that this is a 40-hour game. Just look at Final Fantasy IX. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for whatever my next project is.